Good afternoon and welcome to the first expedition to the source.
Expeditions have always been part of humanity, discovering new horizons, new worlds, new opportunities. Expedition leaders were fearless in entering the unknown. Every business can be seen as an expedition, travelling through uncertain times, facing challenges. This expedition to the source discovers new worlds of business and brings leaders together. One step a month, discovering the future of business while entering a world in need of systemic change. Welcome to this monthly expedition to the source.
In the coming hour, we will discuss a statement that was made by Paul Polman earlier this month. And the statement was, the challenging world needs more courageous leaders. I have asked Feike Sijbesma, the honorary chairman of DSM, to comment on Paul Polman's statement that he made.
Courageous leaders are leaders that realize what is the purpose or the meaning or the goal of our economy. Our economy never started with making money. And if you think more about that, you can, for me, only come to the conclusion that you need to work for all stakeholders. And courageous leaders are leaders who really understand that and dare to lift their anchors. So those two things, doing well, doing good, can go hand in hand together. For me, leadership starts with insight. If you don't have insight in yourself, your own strengths and weaknesses, if you don't have insight in the people you work with, your own employees or your colleagues, if you don't have insights in the world you operate in, forget the rest of your leadership.
For us as a younger generation, I count myself as a bit of a younger generation, I believe that the time to talk is over indeed, and it's time to act on making a systemic change or shaping your organization into a different format.
So we try to move by setting examples when everybody still thinks things are impossible. And maybe you have seen that this weekend I had 3 pages in a big newspaper about making coal without any emissions, and immediately you have all kinds of people that say that's not possible within 10 years. So I think we still don't feel this crisis that the young people call for. People like Greta Thunberg who say it is a crisis, treat it as a crisis. We hear the words, but we don't feel that it's really true what she says.
You know, in the world today, as he described, you know, the dominant ideology is more about shareholders, and to have leaders actually push up against that and push for a more responsible society and sustainability is really essential.
Are animals courageous?
In the jungle, which animal is the biggest? I heard you say elephant. And which animal is the tallest? I heard you say giraffe. Which animal is the wisest? I heard you say fox. And in the jungle, which animal is the fastest? I heard you say cheetahs. Among all these wonderful qualities mentioned, where is the lion in this picture? Yet the lion is king of the jungle, even without any of these qualities. Why? Because the lion is courageous. The lion is very bold, and the lion is always ready to face any challenges, any barrier that crosses his path, no matter how big or bad they are. He walks with confidence. He dares anything and is never afraid. He thinks he is unstoppable. The lion is a risk taker. He believes any opportunity is worth giving a try and never lets it slip from his hand. The lion has charisma. So what do we learn from the lion?
Why do we need courageous leaders?
There are 1,000 reasons not to make a transition in producing mattresses in a certain way. Financial reasons, customer reasons, political reasons, many reasons, but we have to make the change, so we need courage to do it.
I think that it's, ultimately 2 steps forward, but maybe occasionally 1 step back. I think that courageous leadership very much is sort of pushing against the big entrenched systems that we have.
I have this green team in my company that consists of young people that help me doing the sustainable transition of our company. And I also noticed that when we get applications or we hire new people, that the younger ones are the ones that think the sustainability part of our company is very important.
You also told me that the banking system needs more courage. So I'm really interested to hear from you what you are going to do about that.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, well, we were just talking about courageous things that people have been doing. I think my courageous step was that I joined a Triodos Bank last year after 30 years in other banks. And what Feike was saying, the combination of sustainability and making money, that's exactly why Triodos Bank was founded 41 years ago. There's courage needed to not just focus on regulations, but also focus on change in the financial sector.
So according to you, what kind of leadership is needed?
Yeah, building on what was said before, a couple of years ago, people, a couple of the leaders and like DSM, they were really courageous because at that time, lots of people didn't realize what was happening with the world. Yeah, so it's not about being courageous, it's about doing the right things.
Feike said it starts with insights in yourself, and this expedition to the source is definitely also a personal journey.
I think we don't need courageous leaders because when we're looking today, over the next 3 to 5 years, every company will be confronted with a major sustainability issue with large financial impact.
If you prepare everything well, you think you have everything under control and always things go wrong or different than you thought they would go. Yeah, the second sub-theme that we have is what hinders us to be courageous.
Well, I think very often people don't like to be called naive or things like that. And if you are the one running up front, you are often seen as naive. So you have to have your facts and figures right, but you also have to have enough confidence in yourself that you say, well, you might call me naive, but I know that this is possible and this is what we should do.
We say in our family is that it's lonely at the top, but the wind goes nicely around your nose. So that means you have freedom. You can follow your own dreams, and that's I think very important to try to do the things that you think are necessary.
So I think that policy and government-led action is essential to actually attain sustainability.
I'm very interested, Miriam, what your panel thinks about this topic.
Being a servant leader. And Niels, I'm really curious to hear if you can share a few thoughts what the impact is of you being a servant leader.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think I'm trying to be. I'm not always the servant leader. I think it's a journey, but it's part of the style that works for me, works for our company, is that you actually allow people to grow. So
you're creating more than 300 courageous leaders, Niels, in your company.
Well, working on it every day, yes.
So good to hear.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. We are now at the point to wrap up this first expedition to the source. But before we do that, I would like to hear some last thoughts or maybe calls to action from the people at the table. And
I think you should tell about what you do and try to make other people enthusiastic to do also the good things.
because we need to move much more quickly than we currently do.
It's wonderful to have all these CEOs and leaders here. I mean, this is really what we need to change the world.
This was the first of a series of 10 different expeditions that we're going to do every second Tuesday of the month. And that is why I can also invite you to our next expedition on June 8th. And now I would like to thank you and wish you a very good day and be courageous. Thank you.